Hello there. I thought I'd just do a quick follow up on last night's live chat, as there were, as there usually are, a lot of questions that were asked of me that went unanswered. The reason for that is because there are so many questions and they scroll by so fast that I can't see them all. And also, if I answered all of the questions that were asked, that would be the only thing that I would be able to do in the hour live stream. So I think this is going to become a regular feature on the Monday I post up the questions that were asked in the live stream that I didn't get to answer. So let's get right into it. The first one that I've noticed that I didn't answer come from Simply Scotland, who says, any comments on the CAA not recognising the new class system? Well, thanks for your question, Simply Scotland. Now, I don't want to get into the whole political thing about Brexit and about us separating from the EU and taking on our own rules and regulations and things like that. What I will say is that if you have whatever drone you're flying now, it's not going to affect you. It won't change things until 2026. If you have a Mini 2 or a Mini 3 or a Mini drone, you can fly it as you are doing now. And also any other drone you have, you can fly it as you have now. The only difference that I can see so far is that the new mark, the C1 or any drone that comes out now with the new class system marking on it, it's only the expectations that have changed. What you expected to be able to do in the areas that you expected to be able to fly with a new marking you're not going to be able to do that. So you can only fly the new Mavic, Classic 3, Mavic 3 Classic. You can still fly under legacy conditions, which is what you'd be able to do with it anyway if it didn't have a marking on it. So there's no real change. It's just that we were hoping that with the new markings it would allow us to be able to fly drones, bigger drones, in slightly less restricted areas, and that's not now going to be happening in the UK. It's happening in Europe. So I hope that answers your question, Simply Scotland. And now on to the next question, which comes from Doug Curry. Doug says he upgraded to the Mini 3, loving it, but will miss the Waypoint Missions. Do you think DJI will ever add this function? I'm not sure about that, Doug. I think they may add it on the Mini 3. Because the Mini 3 has obstacle avoidance and active tracking, they may be able to add it. They certainly won't be adding it to the Mini 2, because the Mini 2 doesn't have obstacle avoidance. So therefore, if it allows you to set up a waypoint mission and you crash the drone, it's their fault, not yours, because they haven't included obstacle avoidance. They may not do it with the Mini 3 because although it has obstacle avoidance to the front and rear and downwards, it doesn't have it to the side. So therefore they may not do that. What they probably will do is, with the Mini 3, as they did with the Mini 2, they will allow you at some point in the future, maybe next year, to use third-party apps like Maven or Litchi, which will then allow you to create waypoint missions. I hope that answered your question, Doug. The next question comes from Graham Lindsay, who says, he was actually answering Jim here, but he said it really isn't good enough from the CAA. How long does it take to write a list of requirements for a drone? The answer to that question, Graham, and Jim, is as long as a piece of string. I don't know. Regulatory bodies in the UK have never been known to do things at a hair's pace, and if you get them to do things at a snail's pace, you've won a watch. So, the CAA regulations, as far as I'm concerned, in many ways are way behind the technology as it is at the moment. So I wouldn't get too excited about things happening fast. The next question comes from Fingerflip UK, who asks, has DJI fixed the Android issues? Can I update without messing things up, lol? And then, just to make sure we know what he's talking about, he says Android and not Android. Right, thanks Fingerflip UK. I don't know is the simple answer. I don't have any Android phones or devices. I use the Apple system, which works fine for me. Gavin HR does have Android systems, so maybe his channel will be able to help you find out the answer to that. The next question comes from DWUAVeep, who asks, what drones do you have, Rob? Currently I have the DJI Mini 2, the DJI Mini 3 Pro, and the DJI FPV. I also had some wee toy drones I was sent by a company. Lulin sent me a couple of drones to review, and I've done the reviews on the channel, but I gave the drones, in the first instance I got a work colleague's son to help me present it. Because it's a kid's drone, I wanted kids involved in presenting the video. So Max helped me out with that one, and I gave him the drone afterwards, after the video was complete. And in the second one, my two grandkids, Charlie and Harry, helped me with that, and when the video was finished I gave them that drone too. So I own 3 DJI drones at the moment. The next question, Doug Curry again, and it's the same question. I think Doug was just persistent in asking, but he's changed this one slightly. He says it's now I know it's there in hyperlapse, but it's not the same. I'm missing Maven. Aye, yeah. So just to reiterate there on my previous answer, Maven is fantastic with the Mini 2. You can't use it with the Mini 3, unfortunately, not at the moment. But if DJI release the SDK, I think it's called, allowing you to use third-party apps, then you'll be able to get Maven, I presume, with the Mini 3. Next question, Magic, and I hope I pronounced your name right, who asks, are you worried about the regulations for DJI Mini drones will get more restrictions where we can fly? I am worried about that, Magic, or Magic. You have to send me a phonetic pronunciation of your name. I am worried about that. I think the auditors are causing massive problems and will cause even more problems, and it will allow the local authorities to put in bylaws, and they can do that without having to go through Parliament and without having to make it an act of Parliament and without changing the law. They can put in a bylaw which then restricts from flying wherever they say the bylaw prevents you from flying, and that could be anywhere. They could name specific places, like it's now a bylaw that you can't fly a drone over a library, over a school, over a hospital, a police station, a fire station, a railway line, wherever they want. They could even, this is extreme, but the councils have the authority to create a bylaw that says you cannot fly drones anywhere in the whole county, like in Yorkshire, for example. You know, the County Council of Yorkshire, who are, I'm just using that as an example. I don't really know English law, but they could ban drones from flying over the whole of any council property. They can't prevent you from flying over private property with a bylaw, but they can over public property. So yeah, I do worry that there will be more restrictions coming in. The next question is from Gerard McGlinchey, who says, I hear there is a new Mini coming out. Do you think you will buy it? Gerard, yes, of course I'll buy any Mini that comes out. They produce a new Mini, I'll buy it. The reason I'll buy it is because I'm flush with money and I'll just buy every drone. You know as well as I do, I'm skint. But I'll buy it because I will want to test it and I want to see what it can do, and I want to show my viewers, my subscribers, my members what the drone will be able to do, what it's capable of doing, and how it compares with the other drones, which is going to help anyone who's thinking about buying it make a more informed choice. And I do get a little bit of recompense for that, because the YouTube's videos that I put up make a little bit of money, not much, because I'm just a small channel, as you know, but they make a little bit of money, and I get, it's very generous cups of coffee and super chats and things like that from those of you who feel that I've given you information that has been helpful to you. So I do get compensated. It's not like I'm doing this altruistically, just for the good of my fellow man. That's part of it, but I do get compensated for it too. So Gerard, I will be, depending on the price. If it's like the Mini 3 and it's over £1,000, then maybe not. But if it comes in at maybe the £400-500 mark, something like that, then I'll probably pull some money together for somewhere. I'll sell another guitar or something and buy it. So I hope that answered your question. The next question comes from Kamikaze Chaos, who says, what size micro SD card do you use and is it enough? Right, I use, on my drones, I use 128 gigabytes, and in the telemetry, in the controller for the Mini 3, the RM330, which I don't use very often, I've got a 64 gigabyte card in there, and in the goggles slot of my DJI FPV, it's a 64 gigabyte as well, because they record in much lower resolution, so you don't need such a big card. It's about 128 gigabytes is what I use in my drones, and in my DJI Pocket 2 I also use a 128 gigabyte card, and I'll show you the card, for example. And these cards are interchangeable. You can use them in any of your drones, any of your controllers, the goggles, or your cameras. You can, and I have done. I've gone out on occasion where I've forgotten to put the card in my drone, but I've put the card in here, so I've just used it. I've recorded a little bit of footage on this, a little bit of me narrating, and then I've taken the card out and put it into the drone and flown with it. And here's the card that I use, and they're all exactly the same. I've got three of these cards, the exact same card, one for each of my drones, and I've another two of the exact same card, but 64 gigabytes for my RM330 controller and my DJI FPV goggles, and it works fantastically well for me. The next question comes from Magic again. Okay, how future-proof are these DJI Mini drones? I don't want to spend almost $1,000 if it suddenly gets more restrictions when I could fly. I actually think I answered that in the live stream last night, Magic. I don't know how it got into my list today, so watch the live stream back. I'm pretty sure that I answered that question last night. Here's another one, and this one is from Mike Reed 15, who says, I'm still to purchase a drone and looking for advice on what's the best for a hobby. Okay, Mike, what I would say to you is that if you can afford to buy the Mini 3, the DJI Mini 3 Pro, then get it, if you can afford that, without getting into debt or without selling your firstborn child or anything. Then that's the one to get. If money's a bit tight for you, you can't really afford it, then the Mini 2 is a fantastic drone, and it will do almost everything that you want. The only difference between that and the Mini 3 is it doesn't have active tracking built in, and there's that's about it. It does give, you can film it at 60 frames per second, and the footage can be a little bit better. I actually prefer the colour, the natural colour of the DJI Mini 2. I think the Mini 3 camera is slightly oversaturated, so you always have to do a bit of extra work. So the Mini 2 in many ways is the better drone, but if you want extra features like obstacle avoidance and active tracking, then get the Mini 3. The next question comes from Gaz M, and Gaz asks, did you know what was the wind speed? Now I assume, Gaz, you're asking about the little clip of the video that I showed last night on the live stream that I'm working on and I'll be releasing later on in the week. I didn't know what the wind speed was because I didn't test it. I just know that it was so windy that I had my backpack, which I carry all my gear around on me, that was sitting on the little railway bridge wall, and during the filming of that it blew off. At one point you can actually see me as I'm talking to the camera. I pause and I go, oh, well that's when the wind actually blew. And it's a heavy backpack. I should have it kicking about here. There it is. It's a heavy backpack, and it had some stuff in it, and it actually, the wind blew it off of the bridge. And that's why if you when the video comes out, if you'll see it, or if you want to see it before it's released, look at the live stream last night. You'll see that the Mini 3 Pro is kind of wedged against one of the struts, or around one of the struts on the railway bridge, because it was so windy. I was worried that she would get blown off the bridge too. So it was certainly too windy to fly. The next question, it's not really a question, comes from Caroline RC, who says, I hope you get the purple anamorphic horizontal effects with that. I am pretty sure you do, Caroline. I don't do much night flying, because when you are around where I live at night, there's no lights. I live out in the sticks, and there's it's just completely dark. But if I went into a town, somewhere, a close by town, and flew at night, I'm probably sure I would get that effect. I also have quite a lot of, I don't have them at hand. I've got quite a lot of freewheel filters that they sent me that do special effects, things like that. You get gold, and green and different effects, and I still have to make those videos for freewheel, but because I don't have any lights around about where I live, it's difficult to find a location, especially because my car's still off the road. I can't get to a location in the evening to film there. The next question comes from Cyril Walker, and Cyril asks, is Final Cut Pro a free platform? No, it isn't, Cyril. I think it's about, I bought mine a couple of years ago. I think it's about 200 quid at the moment. But once you buy it, that's it. You get all of the updates free, and you don't ever have to pay anything else. It's not like, I think Adobe, well, there's another one, I'm not sure which one it is a subscription. You have to pay it monthly. And I don't like that idea. I like to have it and know that I've got it permanently. So it's about 200 quid, I think, and it's yours to own once you pay that. However, you can download it, and there's a free trial that has all of the features. You're not restricted in any way, and it's 3 months, 90 days. That will allow you to try it out for a full 3 months, and that way you can decide this is really the one I want, and then you can buy it if you like. While you're doing that, you can compare it with some of the other ones that are out, and 3 months, I think, is enough time for you to decide whether you want it or not. The next question comes once again from Magic, who asked a lot of questions last night, but it's only fair that if you ask a question, I should be answering it. It's a similar question to what you asked before. How long before parks and things like that are banning mini drone flying? Well, like I just said there, Magic, it's really down to local authorities. If they want to produce a bylaw that prevents you from flying wherever they decide that bylaw is in effect, then that's what they'll do. And I think because of all of the auditors that are flying just whatever they want, nilly-willy, that's going to happen soon. I think a lot of councils are going to start doing it, and it only takes one, the first one that does it. There'll be a massive snowball effect, and all of the other councils will start to do it as well, and soon you'll find that the auditors won't mind, because they'll just stop flying drones, and they'll just use their cameras, and they'll walk up to people and, I'll film you if I like, because I can, and the law says I can. And they just won't fly any drones. But the damage will be done by then, and it means that we as drone hobbyists won't be able to fly in areas that at the moment we can. So, if ever you meet an auditor out in the street, thank him for that. Give him your heartfelt thanks for that from me. The next question comes again from Kamikaze Chaos. It's just a wee follow-up. You're looking at the Samsung Pro Plus Micro SD 128. Is it okay? Aye, possibly. I don't know. Like I said, Kamikaze Chaos, that's the one that I use right there. And it's out of focus now. There's the one that I use there. And if I don't know about the other one you're asking about, the Samsung Pro Plus whatever, that's the one I use, and it works great. It's never let me down. The next question comes from Cats and FPV, who says, hello sir, how are you? I'm alright. I'm not any better than I was yesterday, and I'm not any worse than I was yesterday. Thanks for asking. And the next question comes from Matt K, who says, how close are you allowed? allowed! That's not how you spell allowed, mate. To fly your drone to Osprey Nest. Currently there are no restrictions. You can fly as close as you want. There are no restrictions, and if I want to actually land on top of the Osprey Nest, there's no law preventing me from doing that. So I hope that answers your question. And I think you actually get the final question here as well, Matt K. When you waited till the chat had finished and I was gone before you started putting these questions in. Why did not tell everyone that you were flying a drone next to Osprey's nest? Well, if you count 1.2 kilometres as next to Osprey Nest, that would be close. That would be next to it. But I did. I mean, everyone knows that there was an Osprey Nest in the area where I was flying, right? There's no law says I can't do that. I am a sensible person, and I know how far I feel it's safe to fly. So there you go. So that concludes the question and answers that I missed from last night's live stream. I hope everyone's happy now that you all got your questions answered. And if you think that this is something that I should do every Monday, I should follow up on the questions I didn't get to answer, leave a comment below please and let me know. If I don't get any comments saying yes please do this again, then I just won't make another video like this because there will be no interest in it. If you really do think this is a good idea, please leave a comment saying so. And while you're there, just hit that thumbs up button for me, will you? And consider subscribing too. Thank you.